Hello and welcome in. It's going to be another lovely shift at the M3DM Tavern. I see many of the peasants are already in the chat. Hello to Mini Blaze, Reaper, Corey, Satyr, Empress Tiramisu, and also a new face this morning, Wilson. Good morning, good morning. Alright, couple new things on the stream today. More on the minor side, but still important. One, I have moved our references over to the right here for you guys to populate and whatnot. Mini Blaze has already done a great job giving us all kinds of stuff to get started on today's main Tavern Keeper's craft. We're working on a female rhino folk, which I've never done before. If you guys are interested in joining Discord, let me know. I can put an invite in the chat, but most of y'all are already there. But a lot of cool stuff in here we'll be tapping into when we create this model today. But for now, we are just in the warm-up. I have the Duality Seraph from a couple days up right now. And she's pretty much ready to be 3D printed. We did a little bit of prep in our other warm-up. One last change I want to talk about is that Happy Hour, I'm going to open up and focus a little bit more on my students. Because Happy Hour is supposed to be kind of a wind down from the main event anyway, I figured that my default, I'll be kind of touching up my asset library, but if any of my students have questions or need like a quick demo on how to make a belt or something, that's a great time for you guys to ask. So yes, Happy Hour is now officially partially dedicated to my mentorship students. Speaking of, Mini Blaze is officially one of my mentorship students, which is very, very exciting. Confetti for that. Excited to have you part of the mentorship. Maybe that's what I'll call the minions. Either way, very excited to teach you more directly one-on-one, be part of your art journey. All right, I think we are all set. Perfect. Corey says, quick demo on how to make a rhino folk. You will probably get that covered in the beginning of the Tavern Keeper's craft, but technically you could ask whatever you wanted. Awesome, awesome. All right, I'm gonna get this post-process. It's pretty much just about done here. And I'm really, really excited, guys. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so when I am post-processing, there's a couple things that I like to kind of keep an eye on. One of them is thickness of elements. So like these spikes are kind of pushing it. A way that I can kind of gauge on how big it's supposed to be is I'll take a mini. This is a terrible example because it's a monster, but it's within arm's reach. I'll take a mini and I'll literally put it on my screen and then I'll zoom out this character until it's about the same size. I've done this for 6 years now, so I really can just kind of look at it and estimate what it's supposed to be. But if I'm not sure if it needs a little bit more thickness, I can check with a real life mini. And then a really easy way to add thickness is to go to Move, Backface Mask. And I can simply isolate an area and click and drag straight back. So do you see this before and this after? I pretty much have doubled the thickness of these spires, but still keeping the front very, very elegant and sharp looking. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. My husband's being very sweet, saying, looking very nice today. Thank you. He probably heard me fighting my hair in the bathroom before the stream started. It's gotten really humid here in Tennessee because spring is coming. And so that means my hair doesn't dry. So there was a small fight that happened right before the stream. But all is well and I won. Thank you, honey. Most of y'all know, but Ricky is my husband. Beautiful, beautiful. Non-sleepers here. Hi, welcome in. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and get this little stamp right here, and then yeah, continue peasanting. I'm glad that y'all are always so friendly to each other. I love to see it. And I will scroll down and check all the new messages are flowing into the chat right here on our, pretty much like our live stream hub for all of our Tavern peasants. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure that she's all finished up and ready to be printed. Another thing I need to check is making sure that the bottom is completely flat. I like to use a knife brush for that. B for brush palette, and then knife rectangle. Sometimes the topology it generates is a bit too high res, so I'll go down to preferences, geometry, and I'll just slide all of these down to 0. You don't have to change all of them, but I haven't cared enough to figure out exactly which one affects the setting how I want it to. So I just slide them all down to as low as they go. If you do want to learn more about each specific piece, all you have to do is hover over something and hold down Command, and it'll tell you a little bit more information about it. There we go. So that's all nicely flattened out there. And this entire piece is about 1,000,000 points, which is much too high. My default is usually around 200,000 points, but I like to zoom in and double check the resolution to make sure we don't get too low. Also going to click on auto groups to see how we're doing. Perfect. All of it is changing together as one color, which is excellent. That means that I'm not losing, it's not separating into different pieces. Alrighty, let's go to Z plugin, Decimation Master. There it is. And then we will go ahead and decimate this to about 250,000 points. Awesome. Sater says, it always amuses me when I can tell she's laughing at my shenanigans. It's true. It's true. It sounds like Wilson speaks Portuguese specifically. They're from Brazil. Hola. I don't really speak Spanish, or I don't speak Portuguese at all, but I speak a little bit of Spanish. Mayblade asks, is Spartan settling in after the storms? Yes, he's doing quite well. And Mayblade says, Mia, could you please refer to the Mac and Windows information? Some of us use Windows and get confused when you use Mac references. Yeah, of course. I think Command is Control. Pretty much at any point, if I say Command or Option, it just means Control or Alt. It's going to be one or the other. I don't always remember which one. I'm pretty sure Option is Alt. But that'd be a good thing for you to memorize, that Option is Alt. I'm going to put that in here. Make sure you write this down somewhere. Like I usually say both almost every single time. And then Command equals Control. But it's very, very important that you know those. And they're right next to each other, so it makes it easy. It is funny though, because they're flip-flop. So when I first had to go from Windows to Mac, I was getting really confused because, again, instead of being on the right, it's on the left and vice versa. All right, this has been decimated down 250,000 points. It looks great. I think she had a funny like bald spot on the back of her head, but without poly paint, it looks just fine. Excellent. And for anyone learning ZBrush, I actually really encourage you guys to take notes when you are using different hotkeys. I have a sheet that I'll actually be sharing with you, Miniblaze, now that you're an official student, about all those hotkeys, and they're specific to Windows. Because when I made it, I only had Windows, I believe. All right, right now I'm kind of moving these hair strands to make sure they all touch each other. Same with this. It's so close to touching her cheek, and I don't want that to not print. So all I have to do is kind of lower that. There we go. And now it will print, no issues. Excellent. We kind of have a funny polygon that has shot off here. To fix that, I'll do smooth with my min connected points down to 1. And I will kind of fix that up. And then even better, I will just trim it off. So then there's no issue. Perfect. But welcome into the tavern. If you haven't already, I encourage you guys to get a warm drink, settle in, just get comfortable. I know today's main event is going to be really fun because I've never sculpted a rhino before, so I'm kind of excited for that. Interestingly, that's one of the default meshes that are already included in ZBrush, which I was quite surprised by. Which is great. So that means if you guys already have ZBrush, you can kind of, I guess you could follow along theoretically. Reaper says, out of curiosity, why do you use a Mac? And Sater has answered, because she's a terrible person. Sater and I are friends. Don't panic, everyone. Anyway, no, that's a separate reason. Mostly because Windows kept fighting me on little things. Windows is really difficult for creatives because it likes to constantly interrupt with like updates and general nonsense, and it was just becoming a daily annoyance. So that's why I use a Mac. That's the biggest reason. All right, so buttoning this up, I'm doing close holes and remesh by union. You'll notice there was a little artifact kind of by her mouth, and that's because her teeth are in there. But obviously we don't need those, so I went ahead and remeshed those through. I'll use my smooth brush and I'll kind of check for any holes or any nonsense. Looks good. No nonsense, just as I like it. And I'm leaving the wings alone, and the reason for that is because I want to make sure it's going to fit nicely on the base. It's okay if it overhangs a touch, but I don't want it getting too ridiculous, so I'm going to leave those separate until I scale this to the model. I'm also going to put a small bend arc and see how that looks. So that's the before, that's the after. It looks the same from the front, but it's a lot more dynamic on the side. I'm going to go ahead and grab just the angel wing. We're going to kind of scrunch that up a touch using my 3D gizmo. I want it to be very, very similar to the size and the shape of our demon wing here, because they're really giving it quite a nice yin-yang appearance here. I really like that. There we go. Just kind of touching that up. Perfect. Excellent. This looks a bit odd right here, so we'll go ahead and fix that up. Excellent. And Empress Tiramisu mentions, yes, that's what Apple's strong point was. It was tailored for creators. Yep, and I definitely have noticed a difference ever since being part of that new ecosystem, I guess you could say. It wasn't as hard of a transition as I expected it to be. And honestly, it was just out of necessity. I was just, goodness, Winders had so many problems all the time. It was not for me. All right, so now what we're gonna do here is merge all of these down and put them into my ending ZPR and get it nice and scaled. All right, went ahead and do merge visible. I'll hit copy tool and then open my end ZPR. This is where I'm gonna make sure it's 28mm scale. Honestly, I err somewhat on the larger side now, closer to 32, but not quite. And that's because a lot of people say they want 28 millimeter scale, but they don't. They actually want things as large as possible, which I totally understand. It's easier to paint. Fun fact, 28 millimeter scale just means that it is 28 millimeters from foot to eye level, and that's proportional to like a 6 foot tall man. Or a 6 foot tall woman, I guess it doesn't really matter. And then same with 32 millimeter, that's foot to eye level, also proportional to a 6 foot tall person. So right now I have this upside down and I'm kind of matching the base up because what's already in this scene is correctly proportioned. Let's see how close I got. I think I made her a little bit small. Yeah, so you can tell she's quite a bit smaller than this elf that I have here, and I don't want that to be the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the simple base out of the scene, just to make it more simple. And then I'm going to simply scale her up until her head is about the same size, and then if not a touch larger. I have this elf in the scene here because I want that to be as small as my characters go. There we go. Perfect. And I especially don't mind if she's a bit taller and grander than life because I highly doubt she's going to be a PC for most players, and instead she's probably going to be a really interesting NPC. All right, I want to go ahead and touch these wings to her dress. If it's that close to being like touching the model, I want it to do so because then no supports are needed and everybody likes that. Hey, Aloha's here. Hello, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. I think all of us were a bit worried about you, so I'm glad that you're feeling better, and we are excited to have you back in the tavern. There we go. Empress asked, do you keep an unmerged file? Yes, I essentially keep a version of the file that is unposed as well. So once I have everything that, actually I forgot to do that with this specific model, but anyway, usually right, whatever file I send off to Ricky for posing, we keep that into this big old pose archive. So that way if we want, I can iterate that character later much easier because it's still symmetrical, and we can even repose it in different ways. Awesome. A lot of good chat here. Thank you guys for just, I love that. I can see the chat kind of scrolling. If you guys need to grab my attention, put at M3DM and I'll put it in orange. I'll make sure that I catch you. It doesn't even have to be a question. If it's just something you want to make sure that I see, that's totally fine. But if not, I'm going to kind of keep on focusing on my work here. All right, so I'm going to scroll to the top view. And without perspective turned on, because with perspective turned on, that means there's kind of like that lens distortion. It's hard to tell what's fitting on the model. When I turn off perspective by clicking P on my keyboard, it's orthographic. So I can see it's poking out about that much. There's two ways I can fix that. I can just nudge her over, kind of split the difference. And I can also scrunch those wings in a touch. I don't really mind that it overhangs the base, especially because it's so tall. She could have a mini next to her and it wouldn't even hit. And then again, this model is definitely not going to be on the table super frequently, I imagine, or at least with things where she has to navigate or fit around. So I don't mind if it's a little grander than life. All right, that's all looking really nice. So I'm ready to now merge down the wings to the body. So to do that, bring up the 3D Gizmo with W, the little gear, and then remesh by union. Oh yes, and Non-Sleeper, I think it's the first time you and Satyr have been in the same chat since you originally gifted him membership. And so yeah, that's why we have a new mug down there with the eye, because Satirical Satyr is always watching. But anyway, we have 4 members on the channel right now. Thank you to all of you, super appreciated. If you're interested in being a member, I'm sure there's some button you can click below the stream or whatever. But I think it's $7 or $5 a month. And then you'd also get your own custom mug on stream. So yeah. Now that I've remeshed by union, I'm going to click on auto groups and you'll see it went from 2 different colors here to the same color, which is great. That means that it's all one piece. I will hold down Command Shift and double click. You can see there's kind of some weird artifacts in the middle. Command W to polygroup just those. So now when I click on them, it has hidden them, which means if I delete them and close holes, it's going to repatch in all that internal mesh. It sounds really, really complicated, but once you do it 1,000 times, essentially you're just merging stuff down and then hiding any problem areas inside the mesh and just remeshing over and over again until it's gone. That's just the way it be sometimes, Seder. It's very sweet. Everybody missed Aloha. Everyone's happy to have Aloha back. Let's get some love. Some hearts for Aloha. Glad that you're feeling better. We talked about you even when you weren't here. All sweet stuff. We're like, that's something Aloha would say. I don't think anyone has pulled up the resin menu since you've been gone even, which is a crime in itself. I'll do close holes and then check mesh integrity, and that's usually when I can see if I have any overlapping polys. It says I have 6 edges that are being shared right now. That's not nearly enough to actually cause a problem for 3D printing, but I do my best to make sure things are as nice and cleaned up as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here. I don't want it to be much lower resolution than this. I'll bring it down just a touch. Ah yes, 3 points for Aloha. Beautiful. And yeah, I did change the menu back to include the Aloha special. Since you mentioned this morning in a DM that you were feeling better, I figured if you were in the stream, I want to make sure that your drink was available. There's an ongoing joke for everyone that's kind of like new here that Aloha drinks resin. That's why below she's a member of the channel as well. That's why her mug is filled with blue. It's blue resin. Do not drink resin. That's totally a joke. I don't I need to say that, but just in case. It's nice to have the whole gang back together. This is very nice. All right, we are just about done with our warm-up here, and then we'll move on to the main Tavern Keeper's Craft. And I'll be reviewing all the details and goodness for that. But first, let's get all of this buttoned up. I'll go to Tool and Export. I very helpfully just name it A and B usually. A for the main model, B for the base. And then we're going to import those into Mesh Mixer. You do not have to use Mesh Mixer. I purely do this because if there are problems with the mesh, Mesh Mixer does a really good job about crying about it and pointing exactly where it is. ZBrush does not tell you that unless you use Boolean operations, and you can click on this button, Show Issues, but I don't do that. So instead I just use Mesh Mixer. It's super outdated, but it does work. I'm pretty sure if you have a Mac, you can't even download this anymore. I found like some bootleg link that still works, but it is, will not support it, but it is available for Windows last I checked. So yes, right here I can see that it's mad about an area right here. So instead of, I could remesh that there, but it's much, much easier if I simply pull up ZBrush, zoom into the problem area. Yeah, ooh, look at that ugly topology. And all I have to do is simply draw a little mask, especially because it's smooth. There's no texture here. So I don't care if I just delete this and then close holes. And there you go, looking much, much nicer. Just for extra measure, I can do a remesh by union, which that is a Boolean operation. That really should work with show issues. But anyway, check mesh integrity, looks good. It's still complaining about 4 edges somewhere, but we got rid of that main big gnarly issue there. And again, that's pretty much the only reason why I use Mesh Mixer, because ZBrush will not point and tell me where it is. There we are, re-import. Excellent. Seder says, I want a mimic for a pet. How cool would that be? I mean, for the most part, it would just look like a normal thing. So you can look at anything in your house right now and pretend that your chair is a pet mimic. I mean, you wouldn't know. Yeah, Raver, you wouldn't be able to tell what's the real thing, what's the mimic. I agree. Speaking of, there is a mimic available for free on my Patreon right now. I don't know if you mentioned that on purpose because of that, Seder, but that was very, very on the nose. I have a well mimic available, and it is FDM friendly. It's completely free to download on Patreon. That's being linked right now in the chat. All right, I'm gonna call this Duality Serif. I always have a no base and a decorative base version. I do the no base so that way if people would like to rescale it however they wish, it's much, much easier to do so. Because if you want to scale this up to be really, really big like this, the base would proportionally be gigantic, so you want to have them separate when you scale things up. Or down, really. Sater says, Mia, that was actually a sleeper catch. Oh, well then credit to non-sleeper. All right, this has all been exported. I'm gonna get that uploaded on my Google Drive. And then warm-up is over and we're ready for the Tavern Keeper's Craft. I feel like that gets faster every day. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, speaking of, today is my second day, day 2 streak of live streaming. My goal is to get to 14. Because my last streak was 13. So I want to do one better, and then 14 is my favorite number. Perfect. I have a little app where I keep track of my dailies. How is the link broken? It's the same link every day. Oh, Streamlabs. That's okay. I can just post it for y'all right now. There you go. And let me repair that Streamlabs link really quick because it's really easy to do. This is the second time I've repaired it though, which I think is really funny because it's the same thing. I appreciate y'all catching it. That means you're clicking on it, so very good. Okay, guys, calm down. You can stop tagging Ricky. Like, I put an updated link. You're okay. Also, he doesn't handle the Streamlabs stuff. I do. He's going to come back and be all confused why he has pings. Oh, that's why. I see. I didn't update that specific link. Actually, I haven't used the freebie link in a hot minute. All right, it's all been fixed. So next time you guys ping freebie, it'll be the correct live link, which is, again, is very funny because it's the same link. It's always the same link. But one of the times it saved, it got a little goofed up. All right, I think we're all set. I'm just triple checking. Very good. All fixed. At Reaper, when I clicked it, I got the fish. Reaper, you're the only person I know that has that problem. You're just very, very special. I have no idea why it's happening. So when you go to my Patreon, click the freebie, this post ID is exactly the same. So it's a Mimic today. Literally all I do when I replace this model is I come down here and I edit this exact post. It is not possible to download the fish anymore. The fish is gone. It's been gone for hours. So I have no idea what's happening to you, Reaper. None at all. Sater, Blaze is like my son. Dad, help, Mom isn't listening. Right? Yeah, Rip, I'm so sorry, Reaper. You're just very, very special. I remember my entire Discord community tried to help you, was like equally confused why just you were being left out. I am so not sure. I mean, just kidding. I'm secretly a programming genius, and I have done that just for when your IP address pings, it gives you the wrong thing. Yes, the mythical fish, STL, Reaper only. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the Tavern Keeper's Craft. Alrighty, let's talk about what's happening today. First, I have a file that's kind of pre-made and ready. I'm using my default base here like usual. However, there's actually a Rhino base mesh in ZBrush. I thought was very, very funny and very niche because there's really not that many base meshes available. This is just ready to go in ZBrush. It actually looks quite nice. It already has like good polygroups and stuff. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I found this somewhere in Lightbox, I believe, under project. Yeah, right here, demo projects. So there you go. If you guys want a Rhino of all things, ZBrush has your back. We're going to be working with this and iterating on it to make our Rhino person. But let's go talk about this a little more in detail. Alrighty, this is our Discord. You should join if you're not already in it because it's very cool. Under project references, I always have a live stream hub just for Tavern Peasants. Big thanks to my patron, Ethan Simmons. Him and his wife have supported me for 27 months now. It's a couple years. And they've just been fantastic. And what they asked for was A large size female rhino folk, blowing a war horn in a hand and holding her battle axe above her head in the other. Pretty darn cool. So does that make her a barbarian? Does that sound like a barbarian? I haven't picked a class for her yet. And this is the reference they provided. Obviously not very female, but you guys get the idea. All right. Well, that's all the information that I gave. And then I had this up since yesterday. And then Mini Blaze kind of went nuts in the best way, well, as they tend to do, and shared a bunch of really cool references, especially for the war horns. These are really fun. And I don't have one of these yet. So I'm excited to make one of them. Love that. This one's awesome because it looks like it's a horn or a husk already, which is very on the nose for this rhino. There's a bunch more. And then some battle axes. Ooh, I do like this. And these are kind of samurai-esque, which is similar to the reference that the requester provided. So I love that. Oh, and then some from Monster Hunter. Beautiful. And then that is the requester saying, "Oh, thanks, Mia. We're so glad to be a part of it. Can't believe it's been 2 years. You've grown so much. So much. Jen and Ethan." Oh, cool. And then some stuff from Empress Tiramisu as well. All right, cool. This is Magnus from Dota 2. He's not a biped, but I figure it could still be used. Absolutely. If you've got some inspiration kind of strikes you or any ideas you want to share, you guys know where to go. If you're not already in the Discord server, that's crazy because pretty much all of you guys are. You can just ping the bot !Discord and get your invite. But there we go. That's kind of the recap on what we're working on today. So the first thing we're going to do is get this rhino base mesh kind of created. All right. Yes. Reaper says it does update eventually. It's just later than others. Well, I'm glad that it eventually updates. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So even though it is a female rhino folk, I'm probably going to use my male base mesh because I want really exceptionally broad shoulders and whatnot. I know that rhinos are mammals, but I'm very hesitant on the whole like animal humanoid and just putting boobs on it to make it a female. So again, I don't mind a subtle suggestion of such, but we're not going to be quite so literal with it. So let's go ahead and start getting to work on that. Everyone's sharing their age in the Discord. I feel the need to chime in. I'm 28. So that's my husband. I'm exactly 3 months older than him. Alrighty. So first thing we're going to do is remove this female base mesh here. And then we're working from our good old Chad base mesh. I originally built this in ZBuilder and then did some modifications to it to make it my own. There we go. And now let's go ahead and bring in that rhino. I do not have a rhino human folk. I have a lot of other animals, but this is the first. And then I don't plan on making the legs digitigrade. I think rhinos are really tall and strong looking and very much so straight-legged, so that's going to work really well for our human here anyway. But this is the very early stage if we're going to be making a rhino man. Trust the process. If you're new here, trust the process. It's going to be cool. I always have some huge amount of progress to show by the end of the Tavern Keeper's Craft, which is about an hour and a half from now. All right, step one, we are going to duplicate this rhino, and now we're going to chop it up. I know I'm going to want the head as well as probably I'm going to use the front legs, confusingly enough, to structure the back legs. You'll see. All right, step one, I'm just going to grab this head, and then we're going to loosely position it onto his face. A lot of this is about really proportions and crafting his neck. Emperor says, the kit bashing begins. As it does. I thought I was going to have to sculpt a rhino from scratch. Guess not. I'm not complaining. This is great. All right, I went ahead and grabbed a leg while I was at it. I'm going to keep duplicating the original base mesh here because I want to keep this. Just a nice reference for later to make sure we're getting those proportions correct. Even though it's going to be a rhino man, as goofy as that is, I still want it to make sense. All right, we got a leg here. We're going to very helpfully call it leg. The hands, I don't think I'm going to make into rhino feet. I think I'm going to keep them humanoid, but just make them really bulky, kind of like this reference we have. Gonna find it. You guys shared a lot of stuff. Kind of like this guy. Has normal hands for the most part. They're just really beefy. All right, we have a foot. Obviously, there's some problems. So how do I start adjusting all of this? Essentially, I'm going to be using the Move brush at a high resolution and the masking brush. Another point of interest here is, see this jagged edge here? By default, your smooth brush will not adjust this. It will not touch the edge. The way that you see how it's not doing anything. You must change your min connected points to 1, and then you can smooth that edge down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that just so I have some a nice edge to deal with here. Make sure you don't click anything when autosave is happening, otherwise you're probably gonna crash your program. Speaking of, I probably need to, oh goodness, I don't know why that happened. This is what happens when you forget to delete the mesh underneath. I will show you. So this is still connected. All I forgot to do is click delete hidden. There we go. We are now fixed. All right. We're gonna make this larger. I do want it to be about his foot size. There we go. And now we're gonna start using some clever masking to stretch this up along with the 3D gizmo. He's gonna kind of have like 2 different knees after all said and done. And I do want him to have pretty wide legs. Right now it kind of looks like I'm putting him in a rhino suit. Just another day in the office. Oh, if you guys haven't already, make sure to like the video. It really, really does help the stream. And if you're really having a good time, subscribe. I do this every day. As of now, I'm on day 2 of a live stream streak. Last time I made it to 13 days, so we'll see how far I make it this time. All right, there's roughly gonna be a knee right here. And I'm gonna make this foot even larger. So I'm masking that one area and then increasing the size. And I'll do mirror and weld, so there are in fact 2 legs. We're gonna go ahead and poly paint this body to match the color of the rest of it, so it's gonna all start making sense. This is definitely gonna be a trust the process kind of a model, which is our favorite, isn't it? His little shorts are cracking me up. I only have those on for my stream because YouTube gets very shy about rhino butt nudity. Also, thank you again to Empress for tuning in to Discord this morning to share the updated terms of service for Twitch. I've been talking about possibly doing a dual stream on Twitch, but they have specifically banned merging the chats now, which is stupid. But oh well. I wasn't super keen on the idea anyway, but now I'm especially not keen on the idea. All right, so now we're gonna start adjusting this body here. I'm gonna make the arms a bit larger, and by a bit, I mean way larger. We're slowly gonna start morphing this guy. Oh, Ian's here. Hello, hello. Wave to Aloha. To be honest, I'm subscribed for a while, but this is the first live I participated in. Oh, awesome. Well, hi. I guess welcome back in that case. I appreciate you tuning in. Ian says, I'm new here and I saw your references. If you search Rhino Warrior Magic the Gathering, there is some good references. Okay. I might look that up later. If you guys don't mind, I would love if you guys just put them in our Discord. I have this channel just for you guys to reference while I make stuff on the fly. All right. And then Zader says, I know you said subtle, but also the female proportions would help capture the lady vibe without needing boobs to scream, hey, this is a chick. That's true. In this case, I do want the male proportions because they're really not that different. Because it's going to, my first and foremost, I want it to look rhino. So a lot of the femininity is going to come in with the clothing. I also find it easier to take a base mesh and make it male and then slender it down to make it female later. Taylor says, Mia, how much would it theoretically cost for you to print and paint a mini for a customer? I haven't done that in a long time, but I used to sell minis like this for like 10 or 15 bucks. And then if I was going to paint it, I would probably charge double, 30. I'd probably charge 30. That's US dollars. I know I have some internationals here. Aloha says, yeah, feel free to pop in a reference in the Discord chat. Yeah, you're super, super welcome to do that. I don't know if you have Discord, but if you do, that's really cool and you should join. Alrighty. I don't think YouTube's gonna have a meltdown about nudity. We're gonna be bold today. Alright, gonna make the arms a lot larger as well. I need to make sure I do a hard mask right under the deltoid here so it doesn't get lost. We're just making these arms larger just by changing the size. And then we're also gonna use our back face mask to literally just click and drag and bulk him up. Gonna run a slight inflate over his hands, and then let's start putting a nice big ridge on the back. It's gonna be very similar to a strongman build. I do have a base mesh for that already when we made Thor. However, I don't want to limit myself to like this human look. I want to make sure that it is going to look very animal and very literal on the rhino aspect. So that's why I'm not just editing from that base mesh and instead starting from scratch on the original. That way I'm not compounding any mistakes that I made in that first one. All right, he does not need his human head anymore. So we're gonna just mask and remove that. It is funny, look how tiny his human head ended up being. Alrighty, and then this needs to be changed to an angle that actually makes sense. So I'm just gonna use my mask brush and then click and drag. I'm not gonna do too much variation, adjusting on this, and rather it'll be easier for me to simply append a new object and create the neck out of that. All right, I've appended a sphere. We're gonna Dynamesh at a low resolution, always a low resolution. And then we're gonna kind of start to fix this neck. It looks like a lot of work. It's really just a move brush. Oh, I'm assuming this is Ian, because that's a Magic the Gathering card. Very cool. I think they made the head too big, but literally everything else about it I love. I think this is really, really cool. That is helpful. Oh, and that's gonna be nice for the legs that I'm creating right here. Thank you, thank you. Zader says, wow, you guys are super cheap for a print and paint. I mean, to be fair, like it's not a main part of my business, and I haven't had an Etsy store in years. I'm really just digital only right now. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would change my mind on that. I'm not a great painter either, so I think that's fair for my current skill set. All right, looking good. And then I don't want this. It's cool that that's there because that's similar to like actual rhinos, but I like this a lot, and I want to structure the legs much more similar to the reference that Ian just provided. All right. Those are so perfect. Okay. So looking at that reference, I immediately see some things that are now wrong on mine. One, the legs are too small on mine. Also, the feet have a very slight turn outwards, even at a relaxed standing, and I do think that's crucial here. Big thighs is another thing that I was missing. Thick thighs save lives. Very nice. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm kind of muddling around with this knee joint here, and here they've made it so much more clear, and I like how forward it comes. So I'm not going to muddle around. I even have a solid reference, so I'm going to be a little more confident in that. There we go. Yeah, look how much better that looks. Thank you, Ian. All right, I think I'm really pushing it as far as giving YouTube a heart attack, so we're going to give him a little modesty tabard, even though there's nothing there. Modesty tabard. There. He's so decent now. And then I'm not sure what style of clothing we're going to end up settling on here. And I did that really, really quick, that cool brush trick. So if you guys missed that, please ask and I can redo that again. Also, a reminder, I'm officially dedicating happy hour to my students and prospective students. So during happy hour, which happens it's my next section of the stream. So whenever this is done, see the little bar, the mug, once it slides all the way to the end, then it's happy hour, which is supposed to be about an hour and a half. But anyway, I'm officially dedicating that to answering questions and doing little live demos for you guys on the fly. So if there's anything here that we kind of gloss over that doesn't make a lot of sense and we need to break it down more, we can repeat steps in that happy hour section to make sure that you guys are learning and understanding. And even if you're not like a ZBrush enthusiast or 3D, if you're just purely interested in seeing stuff done, feel free to ask questions too. All right, I think we've made some really good progress here. It's already looking like a thing. It used to take me so long to make animal base meshes. Oh my goodness. Early baby artist Mia, Lord, this would have taken me like a day, like straight up, just to get to this point. Very, very proud of myself, and it's obvious how much I've improved and grown. Makes me very happy. Another thing I like about this Magic the Gathering card is that the ears are quite exaggerated. I'm a big fan of ears. That's my dog. You guys see him? He's actually on top of his blanket today, but he's all black, so he's a little black void. Hi, Maverick. You want to put your head up? He moved his head slightly, so if you guys saw this little void move. Thank you. He's doing very good, though. He was snoring so loudly for the last few streams, I actually temporarily banished him, but he's back now. All right, we're gonna go ahead and mask these ears and make them a touch larger, as well as inflate them just so they're a little easier to 3D print. A reminder that everything that I am designing here is meant for 3D printing. And I've been doing that for 6 years and I've made about 1,000 models, so pretty confident in my work now. And now it's all about kind of pushing the artistry and my skill set, because I got the 3D printing stuff down pat. I also want to start kind of building up his features here to be a bit more fun and playful. So let's give a bit of a stronger chin. Same with the nostrils. And the eye is a bit soulless here. And this is going to be like an animal humanoid, so we can really play with this. I'm actually going to delete the eyes entirely so I can structure this a bit better. We're going to make the eye much larger. I kind of made him look a little worried. I don't hate that. Oh, awesome. Seder included a bunch of like strong women, female bodybuilders and that kind of stuff, which is perfect because it is going to be a female rhino folk. Thank you. That is so on the money. Love that. Ian asks, your main source of income is Patreon. I'm sorry if that's a thing not very nice to ask. Oh no, I'm so open about money. Ask away. Also, I want to make sure I don't miss your guys' questions. If you put at M3DM, so a little A in a circle, then I'll put my name in orange so I won't miss it, because I'd feel so bad if I missed your question, Ian. All right. Yes, Patreon is my main source of income. I make about $3,500 US a month on Patreon alone. I'm very, very open about money and business, so like ask. It is worth noting that this supports my husband and I, so it's good money, but it's not like outrageous because there's 2 people, so you can kind of split it in half, I guess. Though a lot of our income, obviously, our bills overlap. Like we live in the same house, we eat the same food, we drive the same truck. So it's all worth taking into consideration. Reaper says we don't mind the snoring baby. Oh, good. Many places also glad Maverick is back. Very good, very good. Empress says stare into the void long enough and it shall stare back. Ugh, yeah, that's true. That always makes me think about death, but we're not going to get existential here. Minnie says, and Spartan and Maverick. For those that are newer here, Spartan is my horse, so obviously you can't see him. He is outside. He's not far, but yeah. Yeah, so to make it a female, I have to put on like lipstick, right? Big boobs, right? That's the Disney approach. Something that I will probably do is, like, look how, those are nice thighs, right? I mean, that's going to be a huge part of this, is giving this kind of like hourglass-esque like shape that's been exaggerated by muscle, which who doesn't love that? Maybe move the knee joint up a bit. Very good. All right, I'm pretty happy with this as far as it's going. It's like just a male like rhino base mesh. I do want to start making it more feminine now. So I'm going to save this tool and put this into my monster asset library. Let's see, I have master tool. I have Z bodies and Z animals. There we go, animal humanoids. I'm going to call this rhino folk. There we go. Tiramisu says, I always imagine there'll be a moment in the stream where you open a window and Spartan will just poke their head in. He would. He's not spooky at all. He would love to be in here. Non-sleeper says, no makeup. Ladies are beautiful enough without it. I agree, even if she's a rhino. Very nice sentiment. All right, this is coming along quite well. I'm also a little unclear on how we're going to dress this one up. So we'll figure that out when we get there. I don't think I'm going to need any hair, so I can go ahead and just delete this asset library. Same with the pants. We're going to create this from scratch. Delete. And then I might want to have this shirt tabard thing. Yeah, the monk bodice. I'll probably use that to do some of the heavy lifting as far as the clothing goes. But the rest of it we'll just do from scratch today. And that will conclude our kit bashing. The literal rhino is just infinitely funny to me. That tail is cracking me up. All right, the shirt's a little big. Again, I'm okay with like subtle animal boobage, but we're not going to be super literal. All right, that's kind of a good starting point. And again, this is really helpful, Seder. Thank you. My God, her deltoids are huge. And her biceps. For comparison. One day. All right. All right, going more subtle, but still gonna be on the feminine side. And as far as making a rhino head feminine, I'm open to ideas. Taka says, I prefer the Ghibli approach to strong women girls much more than Disney. Same. And I grew up watching Ghibli movies, and that's where a lot of like my like wanderlust and confidence came from, honestly. Like I always thought of myself like as the main character in a Ghibli movie. It's so cringy, but especially Spirited Away. Like, I don't know. I just loved everything about that. Everything about that. A smaller horn would make a lot of sense, but it's so cool. Oh, maybe I can put rings on it, you know, like some jewelry would be kind of cool. Because I do like how, I don't know, how strong and cool this looks. We'll do less of like a big forehead hump too. And a bit of a longer neck. Thinner as well. Kind of tucked down just a bit more. Thank you for the donation, Non-Sleeper. You too can help buy treats for me as pets. This is true. Very cute. Thank you, Non-Sleeper. Ian says, I'm an artist too, and I think it's so inspiring to see you living on art. It's relaxing, even more so with so much AI going on. I don't want to work in studios either. I would like something on my own like you. Yeah, especially, please ask me questions. I'm not sure if you're in the 3D space, but I would really, really like to help you reach that goal. Reaper says, looking up, female rhinos tend to have longer and thinner horns. Oh, well, that's right on the money with what I want to do anyway. Would you put references in the place, please? Kind of circling back to what Ian said though, like that's a big reason of why I do this. It is possible. I am very much so not a starving artist. I think luck did have a lot to do with it, don't get me wrong. But luck can only get you so far. At some point you have to put in the hard work. I've been doing this full time for 6 years. But any questions about that at all, especially when it comes to a 3D space, just let me know. If you are in 3D, I do encourage you to look at my mentorship program because I do offer business advice and those kind of consultations as well. I'm currently helping Matt from The Forge of Many Things, and they've only been part of my mentorship for 2 weeks now, and they're doing fantastic. I'm so, so proud of them. Their workflow is already faster. They're more aware. So all stuff I can help with. Thank you, Reaper. Yeah, look at that pretty lady. Would have no idea if that's a male or not, but I think you'd post a female. So yeah, I do like how those horns look. Let's go ahead and pretty much just copy that. And I didn't realize, wow, look at that dramatic slope. That's really cool. Okay. Yeah, I can work with that. Thank you, Reaper. So the face is actually just a lot longer than I expected. I don't want to go too far to make this look silly. Sometimes if you follow references too closely when you're already doing this like animal humanoid thing, you might end up making it look odd, even if it's correct. So you have to kind of strike this balance of being accurate-ish. I call that, it's, just where artistry kind of comes in. Yeah, that sloped forehead is wildly cool. Ian says, yeah, I'm on 3D too. I will check out your mentorship. Here, I'll just put a link for you. Anyone else that wants to kind of check it out. Most of it is hosted on, it's all through like Discord DMs. It's just you and me one-on-one kind of thing. So the actual Patreon itself looks pretty bare bones because that's just hosting the payment and that's it. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. I know Tiramisu asked if I had an FAQ and then we kind of lost you in the chat a little bit, Tiramisu. But if you had questions, let me know and then I can start assembling an FAQ. I didn't forget about you. It just took me a full 24 hours to respond. It did happen though. Guys, she is gonna look awesome. Oh, I'm really excited. We've also totally lost her little booty in here somewhere. Let's go ahead and fix that. I want to do an entire stream where I can just talk about like anatomy and how to construct that because that's a lot of fun for me. I might have to do it on Discord so I don't get demonetized. And again, I don't care if I get demonetized on YouTube for a video because my money comes from Patreon. But when they demonetize things, they tend to take it down. That's my issue. But anyway, like I have so many fun things I can tell you guys just about like butts. Butts are cool. And they're very different between men and women. So it'd be very fun to talk about that and kind of like teach you guys some pointers and whatnot, as well as like a bunch of other cool things. 90% of my knowledge comes from one book, which is, I'm going to go grab it, assuming I didn't lose it. I'll be right back. Where is this book? There it is. Okay, it took me a second, but I found it. This is why I know literally anything. You don't have to get the hardback version because it's become a textbook for some schools, which is cursed because now it's like $200 or some bullshit. I got this for like $50, which is still like an expensive book, but it's hardcover and it's fancy. I can't flip random pages because there's full frontal nudity in this and I don't want to accidentally put that on screen. But this is great. Highly, highly recommend, not even just for 3D artists, but just for artists in general. It's awesome. Again, that's Anatomy for Sculptors by Oldis Zarins and Sandis Kondrats. Wow, I really went into that thinking I was going to pronounce those names no problem, and I was like, whoa, those are not English. Still, really, really cool. Speaking of, we also have in our Discord, if you go under, I think it's tips and inspo, one of these, someone linked the online book for it, which is really, really cool. I didn't know they even had an online book for it. I'm sure Mini Blaze will find it and post it because she's just helpful like that. But anyway. Yeah, Sarah says, yep, good book. Very good book. And then Mini Blaze says you can post that on Discord, please. Oh, you need me to post it. Yes, I can do that. Let me find the Amazon link. All right, it's $80 right now for paperback. That's some bullshit. But anyway, it is a really good book. It's just so expensive. Yeah, the hardcover is $100. I literally got it for half that. And again, it's because I use it as a college textbook, which is really, really unfortunate. All right, I'm going to put the link to that in my... I'll put it just in tips and inspo. That is an Amazon affiliate link, which means if you buy from it, I do get a kickback, but I can make a link for literally anything. So just know that I'm not like sponsored. I like using my Amazon affiliate links. One, because I can make money from it. And two, the link is so much shorter. If you just copy an Amazon link, it's like gigantic. Anyway, let's get back to our rhino lady. Oh, sweet. It was an anatomy reference. Thank you, Sater. So yeah, they have an online website for it too. Really, really cool. And then some of those resources are free. You can't beat that. Much better than no $100. Again, it's a really good resource, but... God, speaking about money, did you guys see the Switch 2 announcement? They want $450 for that console, but the real kicker is that like these new games are coming out at 80 euros. It's like $90 US dollars. Like, just for mind-boggling. Anyway, I don't know if any of you guys have a Switch or whatever, but I know a lot of y'all are gamers as well. Sater says, oh yeah, get that affiliate link. We'll delete. You're sweet. Yeah, Corey mentions, yeah, it's crazy, right? I was just so disappointed to see that. Like, I love Nintendo and I love my Switch, but like, my God. Empress says, no, don't worry. I was going to compose a list of questions I had because I'm interested, but I know there is some difference between our mediums and approaches, but I'm open to learning. Yeah, no, I totally get you. Ask those questions. I want to know. And then Empress mentions, it's not even just for the game. I know, right? Like, if you want the physical game, they're asking like $100 US, I think it is. Yeah, lol, indeed. Okay, you guys are being interesting. I'm going to ignore you for at least 5 minutes because I'm not getting anything done. Okay? Bad peasants, being too interesting. All right, we're going to make art. Someone that's lurking is like, oh, thank God, finally. All right, we're going to add a little bit of poly paint here. And one of my favorite ways to do that is using color spray. So if you hold down spacebar, you can click right here, enable color spray. And this gets you a really nice, like, not randomized. It kind of just picks a bunch of different colors around the hue that you selected. I'm kind of going for this bluish color, even though rhinos are brown. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. Let's make this brown. Pivot, we are pivoting. All right, I went to fill object to make all of this light color, and then I'll come down with this darker color. I subdivided the legs just once, though I probably should make them a solid mesh first. You can't do that on low subdiv, so I'll click on close holes. That's good enough. Perfect. And then we will add some wrinkling to her knees and whatnot. But right now we're just kind of working on proportions still. Her elbows got a little sunken in, which doesn't make sense. So let's go ahead and pull that out with the move brush. Same with her forearms. Let's add more muscle there. Forearms are really, really tricky. So like, I'm not a terrible reference, but that's what I got. So this is your deltoid, and you have your bicep, and then like your tricep, okay? But all of those you can bulk up. You can make your deltoids bigger, you can make your biceps bigger, all of this. But your forearm is really hard to bulk up because you really just have like this muscle on top, and that's it. Your wrist will largely stay pretty thin. So that's why it's really tricky to One is a bodybuilder, two bulk that, not that, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm saying that if you were, it's just a notoriously hard area to develop, which is also difficult for me as an artist to find spots to add volume to, because you can't just inflate and call it done. Honestly, didn't do the worst job, but there is a bone, there's two bones right here actually, and it limits how much volume can develop right here without losing range of motion. All right. Added a little bit of volume by my limited understanding. There we go. All right, those have been improved a touch. Very good. And then we're going to slope these shoulders down to be a bit softer, and that is a feminine trait. I'm also going to be able to style her clothing in a way it's going to look a bit more feminine. So instead of like these straight, hard lines, by adding like a nice little curve here, it's already going to kind of accentuate her bust and figure. It's just so funny. This is a rhino I'm talking about. Anyway, all these rules still apply. So you can tell that I didn't just like stick, boobs on a rhino, but it's already starting to look very, very feminine. I will say that these female bodybuilders or strong women references have been really coming in clutch too. Thank you so much, Hindsight. I see the chat is moving and I just can't look at you guys for at least 5 minutes because I'm just going to talk to you guys and get nothing done. I'm very happy it's a lively stream, but I gotta remember what I'm actually here for still. I also think it'd be fun to kind of have these like crisscrossing belts. It's a little saucy, kind of. It's like she doesn't have pants on, but I think it's really fun. I think she's supposed to be a warrior because they want her to have a battle axe and a war horn. However, I still want to make sure that I am creating clothing that is convincing and will fit this character well. I'm a big fan of like doing these cutouts right here. I actually have an elephant monk that's in a very, very similar outfit. So they're going to look kind of matchy-matchy, and I love that. I can kind of structure this belt here to almost kind of operate as like a back brace or whatever they call it. I know I've seen lifters have belts kind of like this, but they're usually not so high. They're usually lower on their back, I believe. Gosh, the chat is moving a lot. I have not looked to read it, but I can see it. All right, this is coming out pretty nice. Let's go ahead and soften her chin a bit and then bring that lip up. I'm gonna use Move Topological to help me grab just one section. There we go. Isn't she lovely? I need to remember to give her a tail. We're gonna come back to so this is what we started with here, guys. We had this guy and this rhino, and now we have this lovely lady. Pretty proud of that. All right. If you missed it, sorry, I've moved on. All right, we're gonna have this tail. We're gonna use Unify to make sure it's in the center of this scene. And that way when I do need deformations to it, it's going to be symmetrical. That's really important. Oh, assuming that's actually straight in the first place. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna turn off perspective and then I'm gonna click on mirror and weld to make sure that this is the right size. No. Stop. That's good enough. I can work with that. All right. Now I have a little rhino tail. Very cute. There's a little tuft of hair on the end of it, and we'll detail that as we move a little further in the model, but as of now we have a lot of other things to take care of still. I'm going to use my move brush to put a slight curve. There we go. And then my paintbrush on a darker color. More on the darker reds and browns. There we go. Now let's get back to that poly paint I was doing earlier. Poly paint does not show up on a 3D print, but it makes the model look 100 times more interesting and my job more fun. So that's why I do it. Looks like the horns. Man, this whole animal is the same damn color. Okay, we're just gonna like make it up a little bit here so there's some contrast. I imagine if anything, the horn would actually be lighter because it'd be like ivory. No, that's an elephant. I know my animals. Still, it should be a horn, so let's go on the lighter color. There we go. Good progress. I think the green outfit is fun. Let's see this reference that they included. It was much more samurai-esque, which I can easily make this look more samurai by adding some of these armor panels and whatnot. All right, we're gonna close holes on the body so we have a nice mesh to work with. Smoothing any weird gaps, and now I can add a couple subdivision levels. Same thing goes for her legs, because we're missing some wrinkles on her knee. Let's create those wrinkles really quick, shall we? All right, to create these wrinkles, all you really need is a move brush and a sander brush. Both of those are default brushes included in ZBrush. Wow, I'm saying brush a lot. Okay. Yeah, you simply just kind of add some wrinkles in. I am adding and removing material by holding down Option. That's Alt on Windows. I'm also going to kind of exaggerate these toes. I really like to make sure that a lot of my forms here are exaggerated because, again, these are supposed to be minis for 3D printing, and I'm not a very good painter, so if I don't have like really clear lines to follow, I won't. All right, I do want to add some better musculature. I don't know how, like I know on humans there's a big muscle right here, like see on him? I don't know about rhinos, but it's like a rhino human leg. You know what? It's fine. I make the rules. Yeah, it's like a teardrop shape here, kind of. Oh, sweet. Satyr included a reference involving tricky forearm. Oh, what's this? What is that? Little muscle. No, I've not seen that before. Is that you, Satyr? Oh, the highlight you did is really helpful. Oh, okay, yeah. So you have, okay, interesting. So there's no color right here because there's no muscle right there. That's your elbow, that's a bone. But I can see there's one that sits on the left and on the right. I totally flip-flop in left and right. That's fine. Anyway, that is helpful. Okay, thank you, Satyr. All right, it's time to actually look at the chat. At the very top, I just see Empress saying, "Quick chat, move faster. You're a menace." Aloha says, Mia, do you often get some NSFW requests, and how do you go about dealing with them if so? I don't really get NSFW requests at all, if ever. I do have a pinup business on the side, which is really fun. But I'm just not weird about nudity. I'm an artist. It just doesn't bother me at all. It depends. Like, there's trashy NSFW and there's like nudity. There's a huge difference. So it really just depends what they're asking for. Foxy said, did you know that to the best of all of our knowledge, all rhinos are naked? This doesn't surprise me. Weight belt. Right. Thank you. Rhinotar. Reaper says, it's just me or does her head look a little small still? Probably. I like to make sure it's more on the small side than the giant side. It proportions better. Also, when it comes to humans, your head, your shoulders are about 3 heads across. So right now, as far as human proportions go, she's right on the money. I will make it a little bigger though. I think she needs a scar too. I agree. And bulked up a tad. Yes, I can do that. Satyr says, I was wondering about her pinup models, if they're NSFW or SFW. Both. Which is pretty much means there's a topless version. Some of them are full nude, but not, it depends if the pose is classy enough for it. Sater says, Mia, my forearms are beefy, but not to that level. That is Big Z, a semi-retired strongman. Very cool. All right, y'all had strong feelings on the head. I agree. Let's make it 10% bigger. That looks way better. Before, after, before, after. Where's my after? Thank you, peasants. That was very helpful. All right, let's keep on keeping on. And then also a note, because we have a lot of creatives and artists here, notice that I'm not getting too stuck on any one area of the model. I'm really just kind of making my way through. And at no point am I saying stuff definitively like, oh, that's bad, or that's not going to be good enough, or any of that. It's just not done. And that's mostly what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, what can I add? What can I improve? As opposed to this looks bad. It's a very, very careful thing you need. It's something you need to be very careful with when you're working and whatever your internal dialogue is. I don't want to make this too much into like a psychological bit, but like seriously, like your brain doesn't know how to operate in negatives. It can't. If you look at this and you're like, this looks bad, I want this to not look bad. Your brain's just like, oh, okay, not bad, not bad. What does that mean? But if you're clear and actionable, like I want this to look good, so I am therefore going to do X, Y, Z, that makes more sense than what you're going to not do. Does that make sense? I think a lot of art is focused on like, oh, I don't want the silhouette to be unclear. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's just so hard to operate that way. I think like I want a clear silhouette and then start making actionable steps to get that done. And that's how I've been doing this. I'm like, oh, I want her to look bulkier. I want her to look more feminine still. I want subtle tapering to her horns to make her look more feminine, that kind of thing. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And if it seems pedantic, I can see why it would seem that way, but it really makes a huge difference. For me especially, I am what you would call a bit of an anxious bean, or as my husband puts it, a needy panini. So phrasing stuff in positives and something that's actionable has been really, really helpful for me as an artist, and I really attribute that to a lot of my success, actually. So like right here, I was like, oh, her arms don't look very defined. And I'm like, that's not helpful. I want her arms to look more defined. So that's what I went through with my damn standard brush, and I start defining them a bit. I know where my muscle groups are. And then I have a super helpful reference from Sater. Let's see if I can start implementing that. So there's a big thing here. It's kind of helpful for me to keep it small even, because it forces me to look at the general shapes. Yeah, there's like a group right here that kind of runs on the top side of that little elbow divot. Okay, like that. And I know that connects all the way to this side. Obviously not that dramatic. There we go. Okay. And then same with these underside one. And you can see that I'm starting to figure out where this line is. Another thing I really encourage you guys to do is to use your damn standard brush as like a construction line thing, to where like if you're thinking, oh, I want like this muscle to be more defined, instead of coming through with a bunch of little tiny tippy taps, just like come through with like super high intensity and like carve a line out and look at it and think, is that the shape that I want? And it's much, much easier to like draw it back rather than try to bulk it up. A simple way of putting that is don't mumble when you sculpt. People that have been around have heard me say that 1,000 times, but I still don't think I say it enough. We're also going to bulk up her hands a touch here, so we're going to kind of exaggerate those bones. All right, I don't know why we're stuttering so much. Come on, ZBrush. There we go. Now we're nice and snappy again. And I kind of gave her a little bit of a butt chin by accident. We're going to soften that up. There we go. Not that there's anything wrong with butt chins, but not on my rhino. All right. I do think she looks really cute. In Mayblaze, talking about the head adjustment, it does fit the neck better. What about the muscles at the base of the neck? Would they be a bit bulkier? Yeah, currently the neck is just a a bit of a sphere, a lump, right? So we can make that better. Let's go ahead and strike in these. I don't know what they're called. Make them look more dramatic. These things. They're called something. Anyway, they connect from behind your ear and they come down to the top of your collarbone. My goodness. Stuff. So to do that, I can use like some construction lines to kind of like strike them in. But remember, always know what your end goal is. So I want to be adding material here. I'm kind of just creating these little like almost like rails to know where to add material. But I need to come back in my standard brush and actually bulk that up. There we go. It's looking a bit better. I don't think I have clear collarbones on this body. So let's go ahead and create those first. From the top view, your collarbones look kind of like a Cupid's bow. Kind of a really fun, easy way for me to remember that. They're not quite that exaggerated, but I like to go more obvious than not. So it looks like her head is a little bit too low for me to kind of get this neck to fit. Also, we got some other funny mesh poking through here. Okay, ZBrush is having a meltdown. That's why it's like kind of stuttering so much. I'll need to figure out what operation it thinks it's doing in just a minute, but I want to get this done first. All right, kind of fixing that. Yeah, I just need this entire head to be taller for that to work. Okay, I can't deal with the stuttering anymore. So this is actually a really good thing to troubleshoot on stream. So when you notice if you're using ZBrush and you start clicking and it acts stupid like this, here is something you can do to kind of fix that. The first thing that I will do is come up to my activity monitor. This is Task Manager in Windows, and we'll see what it's having a meltdown about. Seems like my entire computer is having a fit. I can sort by CPU. Looks like OBS is taking up the most, but so is ZBrush, and ZBrush really shouldn't be doing that much right now. There's no secret operations it's holding on to, which is good, but we're going to simplify things a touch here by going to my work in progress, Rhinofolk. We're going to save this. All right, I'm actually going to close and reopen this just because it's being so stuttery. Oh, I have Mesh Mixer in the back. Mesh Mixer is pretty outdated, and that can actually chew up quite a bit of CPU. All right, go ahead and reopen. Then we'll go to File, Open. And let's open up that Rhinofolk. Here we go. Comma to close Lightbox. And then we scroll all the way over here. Bam. We're back to where we were. And it should work a lot nicer. Yep, look how smooth that is now. Sometimes you just need to close and reopen. It doesn't happen to me often, but it's worth reviewing. All right, moving right along. Thank you guys for bearing with this small interruption. Perfect. This is not a silent stream, but we can talk about that, Seder. On the weekends, I do a silent stream where I get any project I started during the week, because I start a new project Monday through Friday, I finish them all on the weekend, but I don't do any commentary. I just kind of put on some cozy vibes, some nice music, and I encourage you guys to work on your own projects alongside me. And that's every weekend. Adamus is here. Hello, hello. Have you tried ZModeler? Of course, of course. I haven't tried it on the iPad though, if that's what you're asking, because it did just recently release on the iPad, which is quite exciting. There we go. Much nicer. All right, we have a really nice thing happening here. I'm glad I was able to fix that kind of stuttering and slowness for y'all. I don't think there's any big pieces we have to add. The body's looking pretty nice. She does not have eyeballs, so we can go ahead and remedy that. I'm gonna click on Beef, my brush palette, and then select my IMM Primitives brush. I also have it docked right here on my custom UI because I use that all the time. When you click and drag, you'll notice it kind of sits on the outside of your model. Go to Brush, Depth, and click and drag this little orb down, and that will fix that. There we go. Oh, Reaper actually found a really awesome thing about rhino musculature. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, so that back ridge really is quite prominent. I kind of just erased it right here, didn't I? I think that's something that I should bring back, like this. Yeah, that already looks better. This is why, like, you guys see how awesome you guys are? Like, is this clear enough? Are the peasants aware of how important this is? I think you guys are aware, but it's like every picture that you guys have added, it really started with Ian, and adding this has improved the model like substantially. So thank you. Yeah, Empress says, it's amazing how little additions can change the whole vibe of the piece as you work. Yes, and a lot of those little vibes are coming to me from you guys. So thank you. Obviously, these are things that I have found on my own before, because I did this for a long time without streaming, but that's not nearly as fun or as fast. And I really hope that, like, so on every Monday, I call it M3DM Monday, because that's when I release all my models for the week. And I would just love that, like, Tavern Peasants can look through it, and you guys can see all the models that you guys helped shape and the specific input that you contributed that I implemented. I just think that's the coolest thing, and that's my ultimate goal to keep working towards. And Mini Blaze says, I got you started. Oh yeah, Mini Blaze was fantastic. We're gonna come back to all the stuff that you shared, Mini Blaze, to get this more samurai look going. Actually, it's about time that we work on that right now. Speaking of, I liked this one a lot that you included. So let's go ahead and get some of those plates formed, and then you guys can see something new. So I'm gonna make one of these little plates here. The first thing I'm gonna do is initialize a Q cube, and we're actually gonna use the modeler brush for this quite a lot. And these are just gonna fit right on her shoulders. I'm gonna go ahead and make this single-sided. It's just much easier to work with. Delete hidden, but I'm gonna turn on double so that way I can still see the actual thing I'm working on. All right, and this is gonna fit kind of just like that. And that's roughly the size of these panels here. We're gonna be kind of checking this throughout. I'm not gonna make the entire, oh, you can't see that. I'm not gonna make the entire piece. I'm gonna make one and then layer it up. So speaking of, we might as well start, I believe it's on the, yeah, on the top, and then we're gonna layer down from there. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is bend this. I'll go here and go to bend arc. Click on this little green cone and drag straight down. There we go. Let's go ahead and keep doing that until I find a shape that I like. It's all about the basic shapes. There we are. And I can furthermore come in with my move brush and really kind of bring these points in. I don't even need this line right here, so I'm gonna delete that edge loop. This is about as low poly as you can get, guys. I'm at 6 points. That's why I'm always harping on my students. I'm like, do you need that many polys? I don't think you do. I do not believe you. The temptation is to go really high poly right away because then you can get to this exciting stuff, like all these details and what I like to call like the icing on the cake. But that's everyone's least favorite part in reality, and same thing goes for art. you want your fundamental shapes to do the heavy lifting. And then you embellish and improve it with all the small details. All right, we have a nice shape here. I'm definitely going a bit more rigid, not like traditional samurai, because I don't think the requests are really meant for it to be a samurai necessarily, just having some nice heavy armor elements. All right, that's a nice start. Let's go ahead and add some thickness to this. By default, it's going to scrunch the shape up into nothingness. You fix that by removing the smooth subdivisions and putting them at 0. And then my new offset of -100. Perfect. So we've constructed this first armor piece. From here, it moves pretty darn quickly. I'm gonna click apply, and then we're gonna bevel this edge right here. Click and drag, and look at that nice bevel. Very nice. Now let's add a little bit of a ridge detail here. There's 2 ways I can do that. I can extrude the poly loop on this bevel I just created, or I can inset this poly here and create a little ridge. So I can go to extrude and poly loop. There we go. Now I have a very nice, simple piece here. I'm also going to bevel the underside. So bevel, poly loop, and then just click and drag. There we go. Nice and simple. And we're only at 46 points, y'all. When I click divide, it's going to kind of act a little strangely, and that's because I haven't really told it what I want it to do. So it's just going to be based on where my triangles are at and that kind of thing. I'm going to click on crease, and that's going to give it a lot more guidance. You're going to have a little bit of weird tearing like right here, and that's because I haven't creased that line right at the base here. So see how that poly is kind of shredding? In order to fix that, you simply come into modeler brush, hold spacebar, select crease, edge, and then you just crease that little edge. And then you'll notice that doesn't happen anymore. I'm not totally happy with the shape quite yet. I just want to show you guys that. Because these little triangles are kind of causing problems. Before I get too much farther with this, I do want to kind of start layering it and seeing how I like it. As I layer downwards, I'm going to change the shape simply by making it smaller so it reads more smoothly as we kind of pattern down here. I can also use my move brush to really quickly size this so it fits her shoulder. I can also click auto groups in my favorite, move topological, and it will grab poly groups for me. Let's go ahead and set this a little higher on her shoulders. Sater says Blaze is definitely an icing eater. Not for long. She's now an official student of mine, and I shall show her the beauty of basic forms and not worrying about details. So I'm curving to her arm a little bit too much. I'm kind of losing some of that rigid armor shape that I want. So let's come back to just this main plate. Now I've kind of identified something I want to improve. And let's make this one shoulder piece larger, more clear. And now let's kind of work our way down. Let's see what I can do with that. I don't think I needed that many. There we go. I like that. And then we can kind of fine tune this to fit even more nicely using that move topological brush and kind of click and dragging wherever we want this line or this curve to appear. We are halfway through the Tavern Keeper's craft at this point, so let's do a little bit of a review here. We started with our little Chad dude here, and now we have this lovely rhino folk. She looks amazing. As of right now, I'm starting to introduce more of these components and like pretty much like the armor and the detailing for this model. I guess not so much the detailing. This really is secondary shapes. I haven't decided how I want these to overlap. So essentially I've made this top shoulder piece its own segment, and I'm happy with that up there. But as far as the way the ones below it overlap, I'm not sure how I want to handle that yet. I'm getting closer to what I want, but I'm not totally satisfied yet. Something cool on these armor pieces is this like little flare right here. I do like that. I might go ahead and mimic that by exaggerating this trim just a bit. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna come through with this trim and see if I can extrude these poly loops upwards and see what if I like the result for that. And this is more of just like a fun exploration of shapes than anything that I might keep. I don't know why this one's happening right here. It's being annoying, but that's fine. I just want to see how this looks. I kind of want to build up like a sash of some sort. Undecided. Looks like we have some new messages popping up in this stream. Our references channel. Let's see. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, I love that. I want something that's a mix of these two. Okay. Okay. Yep, I'm going to start implementing these ideas. First, the neck rings are just crazy cool. I know her neck isn't like super long, but we can kind of play with that. Let's make her neck a little bit longer and move her head up. And you make sure that her eyes are connected to her head first. There we go. There we go. Made her neck a little bit longer, and I want to implement some of these rings. I also like the color schemes in both of these better than what I have, so we're going to do a little refresh on our poly paint in the next few minutes. And we'll start now by picking this kind of like warm, kind of almost purpley bronze color. I'm not going to worry about how it fits the back of her neck quite yet, because we're kind of just exploring the forms on the front. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I just know it. And then what really sells this is all these like pendants and layering. I do have a little coin in my items folder that we use to make our coin sword. This. I know that's going to be perfect. Let's go ahead and bring that in. And then this should be a more literal gold color. Still red toned though. All right, kind of pivoted the color scheme right here. Kind of keeps things looking a little bit more fresh. I did the bright green originally just because it contrasts the model so well. Why aren't you moving? There we go. Then we kind of move these around. Not worried about them being perfect. I'm really just in that early concepting stage of shapes. Very cool. absolutely love that. And I do like how smooth, both of the examples you guys provided was on the smoother side. So I'm going to incorporate that. I'm just a little bummed out about when I subdivide this, I have this dumb triangle here, so it's causing this really goofy thing to happen. Let's see if I can fix that. This is definitely a limitation of my understanding of the ZModeler brush, but I'm gonna learn with y'all. Looking pretty cool though. And first says, is she an earthbender? OMG, right? That's kind of what I'm feeling from this. And then let's see. Minnie Boy says she needs an earring for those ears, maybe with the chain going to her horn or her nostril. That would be pretty darn cool. I think we're gonna have to do that. All right, pardon my silence for a bit there. I'm just like so in the zone right now. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. Even though the primary forms are the most important, doesn't mean the details aren't a heck of a lot of fun. And then it looks like Adamas says, this is one of my favorite characters from Moon Knight. Oh, it looks like it's a hippo with kind of like a similar garb what we're making here. Perfect. Very relevant. Aloha says, I love Rhino Lady. Same. And again, if you guys have any questions, anything, because I'm not talking a whole lot right now, or compared to like my normal. So if you guys have anything that you're kind of losing or missing, we're coming up on happy hour, which is your time to ask questions and just for all of us to kind of unwind from this really fun stream. Because this, God, what a unique one this has been today. Corey says, whoa, she's getting blinged out. Yeah, it's time. All right. Let's go ahead and get a few weapons in here. I don't have the hunting horn. I'll need to make that separate. But I do have a battle axe. I think the double-sided's cool. And honestly, I'm not sure what class this is supposed to be, so it's kind of coming out a little class ambiguous. She's going to have a battle axe and a hunting horn, so that makes me think barbarian. But you guys know how D&D is. I mean, depending how you flavor your character, there's a lot of flexibility to be had. Just Lingual says, just join for a moment and it looks great. Thank you, thank you. Sater says, I love the chain, but man, I'd use that to mess her up in a fight. I was thinking the same thing, because like, we'll see. Suppose it could be a ranger too, that would make sense. Or a fighter, right? Like there's a lot of flexibility here. I just realized I haven't put a single poll up for you guys to vote on. That is totally my bad. I was just so in the zone. But let's review our first poll, which is you're designing a new TTRPG. Where do you start? And the majority of you guys start with a central conflict or theme. I like it. That was my answer as well. All right, this is really on the money, and this is kind of what I have on here anyway. Let's talk about this battle axe. What style should it be? We can do double-headed with intricate carvings, or a brutal single edge with chipped wear, or just jagged and asymmetrical all over. As of now, I kind of have almost more Viking look here. I need to adjust. Man, YouTube does not let you have a lot of words. All right. And that's more so just get that conversation rolling. You guys are welcome to put references of battle axes you think would suit her. The reference that the guy provided, my patron, was this fellow who doesn't have any weapons. So yes. We have quite a bit of flexibility here, and I'm also very familiar with this patron who's requesting. They're very, very flexible. Yeah, Mini Blades give a lot of references for this too at the top. Like these two. These are more hand axes. These aren't really like, these are not great axes, but these ones are. Same with this. These are more lumber throwing axes-esque. This is pretty cool. Did he say battle axe or great axe? Oh, he did say battle axe. Oh, shoot. Okay, that is important. Never mind. Everything that you provided would be relevant. In my head, I thought great axe. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're usually more on prompt than that. Yeah, it was me. In Mini Blades, yeah, I was drawn to the Viking. Same. I think she looked cool with two. Gosh, this is coming out really, really cool though. I like it a lot. Adamus says, she's a rhino princess seeking justice for the corruption that almost destroyed her kingdom. I like it, and she's definitely looking kind of princessy. Mini Blades asked, did I get the wrong one? No, you didn't. I thought it was a great axe. It is a battle axe. That was quoted. That's even in my notes too, so that's my bad. All right, we need more of these armor plates kind of on her hip here too. So something that I can do is I can use auto groups, grab just one of them, unify, spin it around, and let's see if I can get a mirror and weld to do something that I want. So right now I'm just playing with shapes. I'm gonna flip it upside down, keeping it unified. I'm just playing with mirror and weld to see if I can get any fun shapes without having to do it from scratch. There we go, I like that a bit more. That's gonna fit a lot better for her hip. Let's go with a gold color. There we go. Something kind of like that. And I can duplicate that with a different tone. Yep, grab the wrong one. There we go. Something kind of like that. These definitely aren't fitting the way I want them to. So let's adjust these first. I want them to sit a little higher up. Same with these. We still have that green tabard back here from the beginning. It's funny. A lot of good changes happening here. I'm excited with the direction of this model. This is a really cool one. It's always the models that I don't like. It's not that I wasn't excited for this, but I'm like, okay, it's a lady rhino. I'm like, weird. I didn't have a very clear vision in my head what this was gonna look like, but I'm pleasantly surprised. This has been really cool. Very cool. Mini Blaze asks, does ZBrush not let you bevel that to smooth the sharp edge? I'm not really sure what sharp edge you're talking about. You might need to start taking little screenshots and like drawing a circle around and putting in Discord, because I just don't... What edge? There's thousands of edges here. Aloha says, plot twist, every model Mia's ever made has been a mimic secretly. This is a possibility. All right. Just making sure there's any questions I didn't miss. I think we're good. And you can bevel any edge. That's gonna be my quick answer to you. I just do not know what you're talking about. But once I do, I will answer. All right, we're looking pretty good here. I'm not really sure how much more I want to add, other than maybe some like bracers or something. I think some like leather wrappings could look really cool. So let's go ahead and duplicate her body and delete subdiv, and then come in with, you know what, I have some meshes for this. I'm thinking of the best way to approach this. I'm gonna make this cloth a bit more kind of yellowy gray. But I do want it to stand out against her skin better, so maybe we'll go a bit browner. There we go. And then I need to keep going back to this main body here to make sure that's gonna follow the contour of the body. There we go. And I'm pretty much just gonna keep layering these up and holding shift so that it wraps around the whole hand. Sometimes ZBrush can be really picky with the curve brush. Just be patient with it and just keep on trying. Having different size straps helps as well. And I'll do any fine tuning I need to do later once I split it off into its own piece, which is actually going to be now. We don't need her fingernails, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those. And I'm going to use Move Topological to actually kind of weave these. There we go. Perfect. Really quick way to do that. And then we'll do the same thing with her feet. So I'm going to duplicate this mesh, delete the lowest subdivision levels, and now come in with my curve strap snap brush. That was probably the easiest time I've ever had saying that brush name. I usually really stumble on it. You'll notice that I don't get too hung up if the right curve doesn't get drawn. I just do it again until I get a result that I like. right, same deal, do one subdivision, and then use my move topological to actually kind of move around and weave them in a way that I like. Perfect. Oh, I remember these. You've shared these before. I think, yeah, we used those for the Halfling Monk. That one was fun. There we go. Just a little something the model was missing, I think. And then Sater says, Mia, you gotta ditch a finger. Ryans have three... Ryans. Every person named Ryan has 3 toes. No. Rhinos have 3 toes. Yes, on her feet. 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Her hands are gonna be hands. Model some Ninja Turtle hands. No. And then Mini Blaze says, on the armor, sorry. Forgot the... let's see. Forgot the Della. Yo, your autocorrect is not helping you. On the shoulder where the 2 points of the armor meet and she's having issues with it. Oh, right here? Oh, I want that to have a nice big crease on it, so that's fine. But absolutely, you can, you're not stuck with any crease. Especially if you reach apologize something, you have all the power. I just want that for the silhouette because I think it looks nice. It might also look good with a little bevel on it though. I mean, I can see what that looks like. Let's go to bevel. Let's do poly loop and just kind of see. Yeah, it's going to want to bevel the whole thing, but that's fine. So it's the before, it's the after. Just looking at this line here. Yeah, I don't think I need that. All right. And then what's really going to kind of sell this are these little coins. So again, a huge shout out to Sater and Adamus because y'all put these 2 references in side by side. And that's exactly what we ended up making is a combination of those 2. And then obviously all the fundamentals were instilled by Mini Blaze. So thank you for that. The Magic the Gathering card really helped me with proportions on the legs from Ian, and then Reaper's anatomy references were also pretty clutch. So it was quite the collaboration effort today. I'm also amazed I remembered what each person provided. It might seem like I have a pretty good memory. I do when my brain says that's an important thing to remember, but I don't always have say over what my brain thinks is and is not important. That used to be so frustrating in college. Like I'd be sitting in like a lecture when I did go to class and like I could feel the information coming into my head, my brain being like, that's not important, trash. I'm like, no, I am in class. Please pay attention. Please remember this. And I could just like literally feel it leaving my brain as soon as it was entering my brain. But for some reason, I can tell you guys what each reference was submitted and from who, and then what I did with it. That's just the way it be sometimes. So right now I'm kind of playing with these coin shapes here and seeing how much I want them to be layered. I don't have any string connecting them, but I will. They won't just be free floating. But for now, they just be floating. I also like these belts. I added in a ton, but I need to make them look a little more substantial. So a really quick and easy way to do that is grabbing your insert single edge loop and then extrude poly loop. And very quickly, not that much, click and drag. Very quickly, we made that, which is way more interesting than that. So, woo, this, not that. That, not this. Subdivide once. Put a small inflate on there. And then let's kind of move these around to better fit the model. I'd like if it was pretty high up on her hips. Cool. And then I can use my move brush with a very high intensity to really quickly move these coins around. Again, these coins, I'm kind of just playing with like a concept here. That's why I'm not taking the time to like make sure that they're connected or 3D printable. It's just like, do I even want these coins here? I think I do, just not like that. What if we do a mirror and weld? Yeah, I think that's more interesting. One of the biggest problems I see in my students' work is that they don't play enough with their designs. Like they really commit to a design decision way too quickly. And I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? And they're like, oh, well, that's what I ended up with. I'm like, the first time? Never trust your first iteration. Do a couple. It's more fun. So like right here, I think this is actually gonna look nicer if I make it more like a cross. See, isn't that better? I think so. And then we can kind of move them so they layer more nicely. Yeah. Pretty cool. Scott's here. Hey, welcome back. Does ZBrush have snapping? It does for some functionality. For example, like my curve strap snap brush. It's in the name. Kind of nifty. That one, it can wrap around a feature all at once. Or we have like our Z Modeler brush. This is here. I now know exactly what you're asking, Frank. I'm going to show you. All right, so look at our bodice here. If you use QMesh, it does have this snapping you're talking about, while as extrude does not. So I can do QMesh, we'll extrude a poly here, and the next poly I add to it, you see that? Bam, snap. I'm gonna do it a couple times so you guys can see the difference because it's very, very important. I have a lot of students in the chat right now. So right there, I'm not making that happen. QMesh is doing that on its own. So that is that snap functionality within the Z Modeler brush. By contrast, if I click extrude, it's gonna look like it's the same. Okay, that didn't help. There we go. It's gonna look like it's the same functionality, but do you see how it's not snapping and there's no regard to the polys next to it? So very good question. The answer is yes. But you still gotta make sure you're using the right tool to enable that snapping functionality. Aloha asked for a cool hat for our rhino lady. Yeah, what hat would we put on her? Like a little circlet thing? Adama says maybe a seal or some type of decorative thing on the shoulder armor. Yeah, I should do that. I don't want to do that, but I should. That's, yeah, you're right. That would look awesome. I don't like fitting decorative stuff to any curve because I'm not good at it. That's the only reason. But guess what? I'd be good at it if I did it more. So there you go. All right, so I have this really cool ornament brush from JRO. They have a sale going on, I think, right now too. But you can just click and drag and it looks really nice. And if you want it to fit the armor more nicely, you have a couple different options here. One, you can suffer and do it by hand with the move brush. Or two, only put it on flat surfaces like I did. Or three, this is where you're supposed to use the Matchmaker brush. B for your brush palette. Click, there it is, Matchmaker. It's very, very sensitive to the camera port view. So just keep that in mind. If I do it like this, for example, and click and drag, look what it did to that. See? It like absolutely smeared it all the way up because I was kind of looking at her neck. If I want to fit to her armor, I need to make sure I'm directly on top. I recommend turning off perspective when using Matchmaker and click and drag. Wow, where did it go? Okay. Okay, it still obliterated it. Look, Matchmaker brush, see, this is why I don't like doing this. Matchmaker brush is not my favorite thing. I usually just use careful move brush orientations, or even better, I will go in my 3D Gizmo and enable the Deformer Soft. This is really cool. It only works well if you reduce the resolution, so click on all these little cones. We want no cones. Come on, less cones. So I'm clicking on the cone, and instead of dragging out, I'm dragging in. That makes this more simple. And now I can click and drag and curve this however I want. It's still just kind of tedious, but this is probably the best way I have found to form hard details and decorative ornamentation to armor. This was kind of a terrible example because this piece of armor is totally flat right here, but everything that I just said, the techniques will still apply. I'm just laughing because I'm usually better about that. It's a huge pet peeve of mine when teachers use like the most simple example to demonstrate something, and then like the test is super complicated. In this case, the test is just like real life. But anyway, I actually do kind of like this filigree. I kind of just grabbed it for the example, but it's kind of nice. Let's make sure it actually complements this armor. It's not a seal like you suggested, but it's ornamentation. And the best part is it's super 3D printable, which is what we're all about. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm proud of you, Satyr. Contain yourself. Adama says, lol, English. Seal of approval. I quite appreciate the seal pun. Oh, Emperor's talking to Adamas. I was about to ask why she'd need a whole seal, then realized you didn't mean the animal. Putting an entire seal, like, that's familiar, would be quite precious. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're gonna do some fabric folds because Mia's getting tired. All right, I'm gonna use a standard brush and we're gonna do what I do every time, which is adding and subtracting material. Woo. Bam, already looks more interesting, doesn't it? Love me some fabric folds. And then right here, we're gonna add fabric folds curving up around her belly and then across her back because she has a really awesome, strong back. You know, I've gotten questions before about like, most of my models, my women are definitely on like the daintier, like frail side. And I've had people ask me like, oh, like you don't have a ton of like super diverse body types or like, I do now, but my default is still like small and slender. It has nothing to do with societal norms. It's just, I am noodly and that is the body I understand. That's the reference I use on camera the most. It's a fun thing to share. This has been refreshing because it is so different compared to what I normally do, and I've quite enjoyed it. I think the requester is going to go insane for this in the best way. I was going to do fabric folds on this belt and then I forgot how to do anything. So brain is completely taking a moment. Which, nope. Why is this so difficult? I just did this. This is how you know it's about time for a break. Oh, I don't have enough resolution. There we go. All right, crisis averted. I remember how to sculpt again. All is well. There we go. And then also I tend to forget to add fabric folds to trim pieces because they don't require many fabric folds, but it really makes a huge difference when you take the time to add a couple. Just a couple. And then trying to fix any overlapping issues. There we go. Oh, she's awesome. Don't mind her like dead-eye expression. Kind of forgot about her head, which is usually where I spend a lot more time, like detailing. Let's go ahead and give her some eyelids, and that usually fixes 90% of my problems. All right, the eyes are a separate piece, and then we kind of do my typical thing here, where I mask a top and a bottom eyelid, just like that. Split objects, polish by features, and close holes. And then just for extra measure, I do a Z-remesh by half, so it's just a little easier. I think it'd be cute if we gave her like eyeshadow, because she's a very pretty rhino. And I kind of like that she looks a bit sleepier. All right, same thing with the lower eyelid. We're gonna do polish by features, close holes, and Z-remesh by half. One more time. That's better. I feel like that fixed 90% of the problems there. See? When in doubt, probably missing eyelids. And there's also not a whole lot of like definition or anything happening here. I have not detailed her head yet, but I do need to add some texture and I can do that pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm saying it with a sigh, not because I don't love what I do, but because it's almost break time. And I want a break. All right, kind of running in with my clay brush and really just adding a lot of volume to her face. Because especially a rhino, there's going to be a lot more wrinkles, and you don't want to just be perfectly smooth like this. Adding some neck folds, and then a stronger crease at her jawline here. I'm also going to come with Damn Standard and detail her eye bags a bit. There we go. Also adding some detail to her horn would be really nice. So let's just add a little bit of wear and tear to her horn. Not a lot. I'm not trying to make her look like really battle hardened. We ended up with a center line seam at one point because I did a mirror and weld. So I just went ahead and fixed that. There we go. We're going to merge down her eyelids so they're in the same subtool, and I'm going to go with a darker color instead of the lighter color. The gold was funny, but it didn't work. A little bit of poly paint's going to go a long way here too. She's very cute. Sater said, I am noodly. Quoting what I said earlier. Interesting. Most women go with willowy. Oh, I like that. That's nice. But this is why I like you, Mia. Noodly is so much better. Also, filling that underways, I'll never be able to refer to myself or filing that. You can't be noodly? I think anyone can be noodly. I know what you mean, though. Adama says, which reminds me of my wife back when I was a giraffe, but she didn't call herself a rhino. She called herself a unicorn. Very nice, very nice. Oh my gosh, my husband was like that in high school too. My goodness, I'll have to post some pictures of Ricky in high school. He was in his giraffe phase. Long neck, skinny. Scott says, thank you. I was wondering if you take an object and move it to a second object, do you just eyeball it or will the program auto-join vertices, faces, normals? Yeah, you're very welcome. Empress says, dumb question, probably. Be nicer to yourself. It's not a dumb question. Probably not a dumb question. And I'm going to be mean to you about you being mean to yourself. Empress asks, intelligently, good, smart question. How do you know where it's folding? Just guessing or lots of experience? Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, I just kind of think about it where I'm like, okay, like, I know, because I know we're talking, oh wait, are we talking about fabric folds or eye folds? They're kind of similar. If we're talking about fabric folds, oh yeah, no, there's a thought to that. So her belt is right here and her belt is squishing her, right? So it's gonna be pulling that fabric towards her body, which is gonna create some compression folds. Compression folds, wow, I don't have a single piece of fabric that will work. Even my shirt's terrible for this. No. Okay, so if I have a piece of paper, imagine, and I squish it together, those are compression folds, okay? So that's what's gonna be happening here because of this belt. And that's why I have it kind of going to a point. And then the reason why it kind of tapers here instead of just being straight up and down is because boobs are teardrop shaped. And even though it's a rhino, it's very, very subtle. So the most projection point is because of that teardrop, right? And that's why it's going to be having kind of a center point. God, I really went out of my way to not use the word nipple for some reason. I really should have just said that. Anyway, that's why it's like that. They're compression folds because of the belt, and they have a taper like that because of that teardrop shape. Corey says, man, I missed the Edgelord Mia picture. Oh yeah, I mentioned it in high school. I wasn't like goth, but like I dressed that way. Yeah. Yeah, I did not post a picture of that. I'll have to find that on my break. I think I only have one where I have bright pink hair. But anyway, we're actually at the end of Tavern Keeper's Craft, so we're all hanging out, having a good time. I'm going to skip my break today because I ate before my stream. Let's go into happy hour. Whoa. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Happy Hour. Happy hour. Oh my God, more water. 1 second. Happy Hour is for the peasants and my students. This is a time for you guys to ask questions, for me to get some work done on my asset library, and really just kind of hang out as we kind of close down the stream here. We've already been streaming for a little over 2 hours now, which is pretty incredible. We made this much progress in just an hour and a half, because my first 30 minutes is a warm-up. Very, very happy with that. Aloha says, woo, happy hour. Also, you guys better be happy. Angry face. Love that energy. Very good. But yeah, especially, so I have some active students in here, Aloha and recently Mini Blaze are current mentorship students. Corey used to be, so you can still ask some questions as well. I don't think I missed anyone else. I know Empress is kind of on the fence thinking about it. So you guys especially, please do ask. Reaper says, I am happy on the outside. Boo, get out of here with that existential dread. Emperor says, happy hour lets me know one of my favorite parts of the day is almost over. Sad. Beautiful. All right, let me see if I can find pictures for you guys to put in the chat. I think I have to go through my Google Photos because everything's on my iPhone now, which I've only had for a year. So you guys know what I look like in the last year. That's not very helpful. Also doesn't help that I don't really take many pictures of myself. I don't necessarily hate pictures. I just don't. That's a picture of my social security card. I will not post that. I have pictures of Ricky and I from prom. I don't know if you guys want to see that. Alright, let me get on my computer here so I can actually move stuff around. Reaper says, yay, attention. Wow, you guys can really see how pale I am. I have light on. Hiss. There we go. Alright, moving some stuff around here. Alright, I'm gonna grab some pictures to share with y'all. I just need to change some of my accounts. Alright, back on Google, which has everything. There we go. We're gonna make this a bit larger, and I guess I'll put this in general, but that feels embarrassing, so I'm gonna put it... I'll put it in general. It's fine. Alright, first thing I want to share with you guys, this isn't super related, but I baked cookies like a month ago, and I completely goofed them up, and they made it into one mega cookie. Alright, just want to share my stupid cookie with you guys, because it was such a goof up. I swear, like, I baked, too. They were delicious. Alright, jumping back to 2015. Let's see if I can find anything. Oh my god, the fact that I'm not smiling in these pictures is the worst. Oh god. I wasn't that serious or edgy. I just... maybe I don't want to share these pictures. Like, I was cute, but this is so embarrassing. Here's Ricky and I at 2015 formal. Yeah. I told you guys I had really short hair for a long, long time. The long hair is more of only the last few years. But that's not edgy. That was my senior year, so I look friendlier. Most of these are pictures of my cats, quite honestly. Yeah, Ricky laughs. Ricky, the people wanted to see earlier stuff, so I'm roping you into it too. All right, I got a couple more I can share with y'all. All right, I'm not smiling in this picture, but like I didn't even buy this outfit. This is just me trying on clothes and like I don't know, Forever 21 or something. But that's about the kind of stuff that I wore exclusively. You can't tell, but I have pretty tall black boots in that. But yeah, we're color now. That's a new one. God, so many of these I'm like, I cannot show these. They're so lame. Christ. But yeah, the short hair was super cute. Had that for a long time. I can't find my neon pink like when I dyed my hair. I don't know why. It looked good too. Yeah. It's true, Ricky could delete these pictures technically. Alright, here's one of the few pictures I can find of myself with pink hair. I don't know why it's so hard to find. But my hair has been like every different color. Alright, that's enough, Mia Lore. Alright. You guys now know. Now this can get buried into the Discord to not be seen again. Oh, I have my first day of first grade picture. I don't know why that was so easy to find. Anyway. Alright. Anyway, is there something you guys would actually like to see that's art related? If not, I'm going to start working on my asset library and getting that all nice and buttoned up. Boop. Christ. I'm just glad I look older now. Like for the longest time, I looked the way I did in these pictures up until like 2 years ago. And in the last year or so, I really started looking older, and it's been nice. And most people think it's like a compliment. It's like, oh, you look so young, and I'm like, it's nice. Like I want to look like healthy, but I don't want to look 15 forever. You know. Maverick lore pics. All right. That's worth it. Do not pin those. No. Bad, Satyr. Alright. I got a million baby Maverick pictures to show, and those I have on my phone. Oh, Ricky might be able to post those even. Just know that I actually like you guys. Like, I don't share pictures of myself. Like, if you go to my own Instagram, I post like damn near once a year. Oh, that's an older one, yeah. My hair was starting to grow out. Emperor says 15 forever sounds like a nightmare, right? Oh my god, it was like 3 years ago. Again, I hadn't started looking older yet. And they carded me at like a grocery store for buying Martinelli's. Martinelli's apple cider it's non-alcoholic. It's just in like a champagne bottle. And I was like, first off, I'm 25. Second off, this does not have alcohol in it. It's so embarrassing. It didn't help that I couldn't find my fucking license. Oh, whatever. It was silly. It was fine. Oh yeah, and Spartan. Well, Spartan I've only had for like 4 years, and he was already an adult, so He doesn't look any different, honestly. He just be looking like a horse. Yes, Maverick. All right, let me see if I can find some baby Maverick. Oh, thank you, Maverick. Or not Maverick. Thank you, Ricky. I could not find these pictures. Sweet. Seder, yeah, that is actually hilarious. It's sparkling apple juice. Yeah, I don't want to call it apple juice. It is, though. It is. The Seder is that if it wouldn't be incredibly creepy, I'd totally snag those and taunt them with you later. We're good enough friends. It wouldn't be that weird. I mean, some random dude on the internet. Yeah, and he's so small. Okay, Maverick, come here. We're talking about you. He recovered himself. He's right here. Maverick, come here. Hey. Oh my God, come here. He's my serious voice. Hi, come here. Show them how big you've gotten. Look how big he is now. He is not small. He is big man. You're so cute. You're so stinky too. You sneeze on my face on stream? Yeah. I can feel his little tail wagging. He keeps hitting me on my back. Yeah. You want to look at the camera? Right here? Oh. Do you want to meet the peasants? Grab my camera. Because you're such a black void. Hey, Maverick. Do you want to talk to the peasants? Look at the camera. There he is. Being so good. Yes. That's a good amount of Maverick. I feel like you guys don't get very much Maverick. Okay, are you done? Are you bored with this now? You want to get your bone? Go lay in bed? He loves bed. Alright, get down. Good boy. Go to bed. Good man. I'm glad you guys appreciate baby Maverick. I cannot believe what a cube he was. Look at him. Cube. I should model baby Maverick. Reaper. I love his bug eyes. Yeah, me too. How much does he weigh now? 20 pounds? 25 pounds? He got really fat at one point. We don't talk about that. This is the most unproductive happy hour ever, and it's great. I'm just vibing with y'all. Oh, I didn't take any screenshots in my Tavern Keeper's Craft. I gotta do that. Reaper says you gotta model him. I do. There's enough of y'all hanging out in here that are actually patrons. If you do make that your legendary request, I will actually do it. If not, I probably won't. Emperor says, who is a large creature eyeing him down? Picture number 2. For a second, I thought you were talking about me, and I was going to be like, rude. But no, that's Putty. Yeah, that's Putty. That's our golden lab. He was very, very old even then. But he lived another like 3 years after that. But yeah, that was like who pretty much raised Maverick. He was the best lab. Very, very nice. You can already see like his little white eyebrows. He was already ancient and half blind in that picture. Dude, this came out so cool. Oh, I'm really happy about it. I'm going to hide the battle axe because I think we're going to end up changing it considerably. Especially now that Mini Blaze has pointed out it is in fact a battle axe, not a great axe. Today I learned that Mini Blaze can remember details even better than me. I like it. Alright. Do a little screenshot of this. And we'll keep Baby Maverick on screen for my screenshot. Where's my mouse? Ah, there it is. Perfect. Oh, Monkey's here. Greetings, human. I like that armor. Thank you. Yeah, Monkey, there's a huge Mia and Maverick lore drop in the Discord right now. But as of now, it's happy hour. We're just kind of winding down, hanging out. Right now, it's pretty much all regulars. Oh, I should save this. There we go. Yeah, so what class is this supposed to be? She's going to have a war horn in one hand and a battle axe in the other. I want to say barbarian, but it really could go either way. Maybe fighter? I think her armor's a little too heavy to be barbarian or fighter. I don't know. I guess what class would a samurai be? Because it's kind of samurai-esque feeling with the armor. I guess a samurai would be a fighter. Definitely wouldn't be like a rogue or a monk or a druid or a sorcerer or warlock. So that leaves paladin. I could see a samurai being a paladin class. Ranger. I could see that. Yeah, like a tracker of sorts. I don't know. Ranger, I kind of just think druid without the magic is what I think of when I think of ranger. Ian says, these colors were so pretty. Thank you. I really like them too. Oh, and then you guys also voted for the battle axe. You guys picked jagged and asymmetrical. Definitely won that, so I will keep that in mind. Monkey says, depends how you flavor the samurai, right? And that's something that I love about just really every tabletop system. It's really up to you. Mini Blade says, samurai is a class. No, not in traditional D&D anyway. That looks like medium armor to me, so she's a melee ranger, but also samurai is a fighter subclass. Okay, gotcha, in 5e, because it's lame. Oh, straight to the heart. Infer says, what class are we dealing with? Because warrior, like a beastmaster, could fit. I could see that. I've played as that, even though everyone rags on rangers to death. I feel like fighter fits best. I do too, because she's also going to have a war horn. I don't know. I mean, we could make this totally weird and then class her as a bard, like a really heavy-hitting bard. Sorry, subclass. No, you're totally good. I was being pedantic. I never use that word. What is the difference between pedantic and semantic? I don't know if I'm using those words right. Define pedantic. Oh God, I do use interchangeably. Pedantic? Oh, that's like a pendant. I spelled that wrong. Well, if I can't spell, this doesn't help, does it? No. Pedantic. Lord. We're going to start with semantic. Semantic. Okay, semantic, meaning in reference to language or logic. That's not a very great definition. So you can be pedantic about semantics. That sounds right. Interesting. Okay, I learned. Very good. Monkey says, they are just terrible. Look, Rangers aren't the greatest built class. I think that's why there's a rework. I think it's in Mordekainen's Tome of Everything. I can't remember. But it's fine. I mostly play for the roleplay, so I don't care. It's fine. Sater says, I used it the other day and you haven't stopped. I know, some words, like, they have a nice sound to them and then I can't stop. Ian says, let's all be patenting or something like that. I love it. Thomas says rogue. Yeah, stealthy rhino. I love it. Oh my gosh. Emperor says, in Guild Wars 2, the Ranger class has a war horn that summons birds to attack the target and grant movement speed. Oh, well that's cool. And then Sater says, Empress, I've been holding that back all stream because I figured there were any other Guild Wars 2 players. Oh, never hold back. Sure. Very cool. Awesome. Today was one of my favorite live streams in a while. If you're having a good time, make sure to like the stream. It does help, blah, blah, blah. Happy to have you guys here. The thing I really care about is being part of a Discord server. That's my favorite. Because then I can kind of touch base with you guys all week. And that's more fun for me. I'm so glad you guys like Baby Maverick. He's a puppy. I mean, how can you not like him? I had that dress for so long. Oh my goodness. I need to buy more dresses. Okay. All right, we're at the very end of Empress says she could multi-class, lol, Ranger Warrior, right? So speaking of, I have a website that I'm building specifically to solve this freaking problem. Let me show it to you guys. It's not live. I mean, you could enter in this URL. You could go here now, but I haven't like finished it. And this is actually to solve my problems with naming stuff. Because right now on Patreon in the Vault, like you just can Google like, oh, like, okay, don't be dumb. What is with this formatting right now? All right. Was there an update? All right. The Vault broke itself, which is really annoying. Anyway, my point being is that you can filter stuff by tags. And so this model will show up probably for Ranger and for Warrior. Oh, there we go. My website unbroke itself. I was going to say, I'm like, I spent so much time on you. Do not break yourself. Anyway, this is the alpha vault that hasn't quite gone to launch yet because I need to upload 1,000 freaking models. I'm like 20% of the way done. But now you'll be able to go through here and tag like Barbarian and Druid because some models fit for both of these things, you know, which is very tricky. So I'm really excited about this. Also, it's very satisfying because you can go to like, oh, I want a Barbarian human, for example. And it should just show, bam, I have 2 Barbarian humans that fit that. I'm so excited to get this launched. I'm just not ready yet because at some point I made like a bajillion freaking models. I also have like environment tags, so you can just go here and search by like, I don't know, desert, for example. I don't think I have a lot of those. Yeah, I just have a handful of desert. I got my classic little snake man, Anubis. Oh, there's the elephant monk that reminded me of the rhino we worked on today. But anyway, I know some of y'all have heard of this and you know what's happening. Just know that I am making progress still. Like here are all my Japanese models. There's a lot more I need to add to this still. But I'm really excited about it. And it's going to happen. And it's synced with Patreon. So if you log into Patreon, you can download stuff directly. It's going to be very cool. Mini Blaze says, you got to make a mini of Baby Maverick. Yeah, I know. I'm like encouraging someone to request it as their legendary request because I will not do it unless it's part of my job. I know that's like so dry, but I'm just being totally honest with y'all. Ian says, Mia, do you have a world building of yours, or do you just make minis for D&D? I really just make minis for all tabletop games. So the way that this works is every single model that I make is a Patreon request. So, bam. That's my Patreon. Essentially, if you're a legendary patron, that's $15 a month. Every single month, you can submit a request. I say a request, but I accept all of them. So this is somebody's character that they asked me to make, and then I kind of piece it all together. It's really, really fun. So I make minis for Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, Gloomhaven. These are used all across different systems. Great question. Taka says, the website looks pretty cool. Thank you. I worked so hard on it. Emperor says, I love this. Yay. Sater says, Mia, that's when you do the Instagram thing and just tag it with all the possible things. Exactly what I'm doing with that. Sater says, Ian, she won't DM. Shaking my head. It's true. I haven't DM'd a game, but I want to. A weekly reminder for Mia to commit to a D&D DM campaign. Yeah, and with all people, I'd love to do it for you guys, you know? Adama says, have you looked into Chinese magical creatures? They are just as imaginative as Japanese. Yeah, I've dabbled a little bit, but not nearly as much as Japanese. Like I have a whole Japanese mythology collection, but I have not done Chinese. And I would like to do that at some point. If y'all are lurking and new, I feel that I'm sorry, I'm not doing art right now. I'm just hanging out with my peasants. But I do stream every day. And once I'm in like, speaking of, it's last call now. Bam. When this little sign says a Tavern Keeper's Craft, I am actually making stuff. And then the rest of it is just a toss-up. Corey says, Mia, I have to get going now. Have a great day. It's fun to hang out with y'all. Yeah, it's fun to hang out with you too. Thanks for stopping by. And we're just about winding down anyway. Thank you guys for liking the stream and being here and Discord and Patreon and just everything. You guys are the best peasants. I really appreciate you. Taylor's here. Hey, welcome. I could be mistaken, but adding hashtags on Instagram post reels can actually hurt people finding your page. Oh, we were talking about the website that I'm building and like categorization of systems. Sater says, you made me want to run a dark and gritty game for you. Yes, I would love something just punishing. I don't know. I like my games to be stressful. If my games aren't awful, I'm not having fun. So like Monster Hunter, like I want to just always be suffering. Yes. If a game is too easy, I am just like the worst attitude about it. Like I have to be like on my toes to play the game correctly. I'm just that kind of player. Anyway, let's do a quick little recap of what we worked on today. So she is lovely. Isn't she lovely? And then in the beginning of the stream, we finished the post-processing for the duality serif. So let's go ahead and revisit that really quick. Emperor says, Mia sounds like a dual blades main. You're really close. My number one is Insect Glaive, but my secondary is dual blades. I kind of interchange between the two of them. And recently, I have gotten just as good with the lance. Taka, how have you haven't played Souls-like games, right? Oh yes, huge caveat. I also have a terrible attitude. So if the game does, just being totally honest, if the game doesn't let me win, playing Souls-like games, so like Elden Ring, it feels like a part-time job. So like if I'm not regularly playing it, I just like forget how to play. And like just like getting back into it is a huge like detractor for me. I'm also like so stressed playing Elden Ring. Elden Ring it goes too far for me. I legit like just sit there with like sweaty hands and just die over and over and over again. And I just do not relax. And then I'm like, this is a Tuesday night. I want to have fun at some point. And I can't guarantee that will happen all the time with Elden Ring, but I'm getting better at it. That would not be a bad game for me like to live stream with y'all watching because it might lighten me up a little bit. And I could laugh about what a spaz I am. Yes, thank you, Sater. There's a difference between appreciated tension and enjoying masochism. Yes. Beautifully said. Anyway, here is my angel. Isn't she nice? It's a duality serif. My kind of headcanon for her is that she is a judge, a celestial judge, and that's why she has darkness and evil, right and wrong. Obviously, things aren't that black and white, and that's why it's fun to have her in the same tortured being. I love it. I just think it's the best. There's a lot of little motifs throughout this design, too. My favorite just being like the yin-yangness of her wings. Very cool. Sater says, I don't want my victory to come from memorizing the enemy's moveset. I feel that in my soul. Taka, what does that say about me? You know exactly what it says about you. If you have to ask. Beautiful. Monkey has been on a huge Project Zomboid kick lately. That sounds like fun. And that game is punishing AF. Yeah. Sounds like it. Emperor says, also, I find this Rhino model funny because it comes from a male base mesh, and I'm sure you could do it from a female one, but someone would say it has to be from that one. This is true. It was just easier for my brain to work. I find it easier to slim things down than bulk them up. Sater says, Taka, it means you're a masochist, and we love you for your particular interest in pain. Well said. All peasants are welcome here. Oh my gosh. I have to... Okay. This was super funny. So Ricky posted this picture of me in Discord. It's an older one. I'm sitting in like a big nest thing. We were at a zoo. So it's like those birds that build nests or whatever. And then very on topic, because it's like male birds that weave the nest. Bonnie asked in our Discord to Ricky, did you build her that nest? And Ricky said, yes, it took forever. You guys are so dry and lame. Oh my god. If you're not in our Discord already, I'm going to just absolutely require it. I'm 90% sure you guys are, but if not, look at the things. It's great. We're fun. Speaking of, I didn't wave hi to Ian. Hello. Oh yeah, cool. And think you shared your art and stuff. I want to look. You shared a link, so I can't imagine that you would care if I shared this, Ian. if you're still here. But yeah, this is Ian's work, guys. Also a 3D artist. Check this out. Oh, I really like this character. That's cool. Well, good. The more the merrier. Happy to have you here. Ooh, that's cool. Very cool. You're very welcome here. All right, y'all. I'm tired. It was a great stream, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, around noon. I'll be posting a new project reference goodness here. Let's look at something else in Elf Barbarian. Oh yeah, more details. Very good. All right, so there'll be a new project for you guys to collaborate on and whatnot. Hey, Dark's in to subscribe too. Hello. I just saw your comment in Discord. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, take care, okay? Bye.